today we are discussing the SQL queries. So we know that structured query language is SQL. The statements in SQL is classified into three types. They are DDL, DML, and DCL statements. DDL is called as data definition language. This data definition language is used to create, alter, and drop database objects. The database objects are, it may be tables, views, sequences, indexes. So these are all called as database objects. In order to create the database objects, we use DDL commands. The DDL commands we have. So first of all, we discuss how to create a table. So in order to create a table, we use the command create a table. Create a table, table name, column, data type, and size. So by using that create a table, we can create the tables. So we have given so many examples for how to create the tables. Better to create a table with constraints. When you create a table with constraints, then the data in the database is correct. So that means you cannot enter incorrect data into the database. If you are created a table without constraints, the data is either it may be correct or incorrect. So in order to avoid such incorrect data, it is necessary to create a tables with constraints. Always you have to create a tables with constraints. So what is constraint? A constraint is a condition. A constraint is a condition. By using constraints, we can maintain good quality of data. That means we are maintaining the correct data. The constraints in SQL is classified into two types. We are called as column constraints and table constraints. So what is column constraints? The constraints that are applied to a column is called as column constraints. There are 5 column constraints: unique, not null, primary key, check, and default. These 5 constraints we will call as column constraints. So what is unique constraints? So when you define a unique constraint, that no 2 rows have the same column value. That means so we cannot enter the repeated value. If you enter the duplicated value or repeated value, the system will produce an error. So by using unique value. So in unique value, unique constraint will allow us null values. What is null value? A value which is not assigned to a column is called as null value. So see how to define this. Then primary key. Primary key is the combination of unique key and unique and not null. So that means a primary key is a key which is unique and it cannot be a null. So this primary key is called as entity integrity. So entity integrity means the primary key value cannot be a null. That's we called as entity integrity. So check constraint is used to make the value of the column lies but must satisfy the condition. Default constraint is used to insert the default value when the user is not assigned to a value. Column, then again we have the table constraint. Table constraints is used to establish the relationship between the two tables. So foreign key is the key which is used to establish the relationship between the two tables. So what is foreign key? A foreign key is a non-key attribute in one relation and it is a primary key value in another relation. So like this we have to create a tables with constraints. So that is about the create a table. So next we will discuss alter table. So what is alter command? Alter command is used to add a column or constraint, modify a column, drop a column, or drop a constraint. So alter table is used to add a column, add a constraint, modify a column, drop a column, drop a constraints. To perform this, we use alter table. For example, suppose I created a table with the student table with 3 columns: SID, student ID, student name, and marks. Suppose I want to insert one more column to this student ID, mobile number. So in this case, how we can perform this? So how to add a new column to the existing table? So to add a new column to the existing table, we use alter table, table name. What is the table name? Student. So add, we use keyword add. So column, add column. So what is the column number? Mobile number. What a type? Number of 10. So like this we used. When we created a new column, then the table will be, so table has 4 columns. Next we go for how to add a column. How to add constraints. So it's add column. So add constraint. Suppose I want to add constraint. Suppose I want to add student ID constraint. I want to add a constraint. Suppose SID is the primary key. During the table creation, I am not given constraint. Now I want to create a constraint for student ID. So student ID is a primary key. I am not given primary constraint during the table creation. Suppose I want to give the constraint to the student table. So then how we can add table, sorry, not alter table, alter table name. What is the table name? Student. Alter table name student. Then add constraint, add constraint. Then constraint name. Suppose nenu primary key underscore SID. This is the constraint name. What is the constraint? Primary key. Which column? SID. So this is the way. So how to add a constraint? So how to add a constraint? Alter table, table name. What is the table name? Student. Student is the table name. I want to add a constraint. We have to write add constraint. You want to add a column, add column, like this, add constraint. Then we have to write the constraint name. Suppose it is the primary key. I given primary key pk underscore SID, primary key SID. So then what type of the primary, what type of the constraint it is? It is the primary key constraint, primary key. So then SID. So what is the primary key? SID is the primary key. So I given primary key is SID. So like this we can alter table. So then again modify column. Modify column. So this is this clause is used to change the size of the data type. So modify column. So modify. So how to is modify column? So modify. So then we can now modify. Then modify column. So this clause is used to change the size of the data type. Suppose so I'm given name as with suppose 20 characters. I want to make changes to name to 40 characters. Then we use alter table name student, modify. So no need a modify. So what is the whatever name varchar 2 of 30. Suppose the name is modified. So modify. So column. So we say column. Modify column name varchar 2 of 30. If it is so the old will be changed to so 30 call 30 bit. So this. Similarly, how to drop column. Drop column. So how to drop a column. So how to drop a column. So how to drop a column. So we use the constraint clause drop column. Alter table. Table name is student. Drop column. Hello. Hello. చెప్పండి చెప్పండి. ఓకే. కింద రమ్మంటారా? అవునండి. వస్తుంది వస్తుంది. హలో. ఒక 5 నిమిషాలు చిన్న పోయే వాళ్ళు వచ్చారు, మాట్లాడి మళ్ళీ ఇస్తాను. 2 minutes, 5 minutes. ఇక్కడ how to drop a column. So to drop a column, alter table name, drop column, then you have to write the column name. Suppose I want to drop column mobile number, mobile underscore number. So when we define like this, the column is dropped. So like this we can drop it. How to drop a constraint? How to drop a constraint? So alter table name student, drop constraint. How to write the constraint name? Suppose so pk underscore sid. So if I define like this, the constraint is dropped. So if you are not assigned the name to a constraint, it's not possible to drop the constraints. That's way. So we are always, you must give the name to a constraint. Otherwise, we cannot drop the constraints. Like this, we can alter the table. So alter table is used to add a column or constraint, modify a column, drop column or constraint. So this is the way to alter a table. So alter table command is used once the table is created with the columns and data types and constraints. Then we can modify. So we can add a new column or add a constraint, modify a column or drop a column or drop a constraint. This is the way to alter a table. So then we go for drop table. This statement is used to delete a table. So to delete a table, we use drop table command. Drop table. Drop table command is used to delete a table. The syntax of this command is drop table name student, drop table name. So drop table name. So student. So once it's enough. So drop table name. Drop table example. Table name student. It's the way to create drop the table. These are all three are the DDL statements. DDL means data definition language. Data definition language is used. So the data definition language statements are used to create, alter, and drop, delete. The drop means delete. Delete the database objects such as tables. So maybe table or indexes, views, like this, anything. So we can create. So like this. These are. Then we go for DML statements. These statements are used. These statements are used to insert, modify, delete, and retrieve data and retrieve data from the database to data. So DML statements are called as data manipulation. DML means data manipulation statements. We call as data manipulation statements. Data manipulation language. Data manipulation language. So data manipulation language is used to insert, modify, delete, and retrieve data. So we can insert data into the database, or we can modify the data from data in the database to delete the data, and we can retrieve the data from the database. These are all called as DML statements. So now we go for insertion. Insert statement. This statement is used. This statement is used to insert a row, insert the data into the table. So this statement is used to insert the data into the table. To insert the data into the table, we use insert statement. The syntax of this statement is the syntax. There are different syntaxes. That way, so we are using different syntax on. There are different syntaxes. Insert into table name. Insert into table name. Values. Value 1. Value 2. So on. This is the one syntax. Insert into table name. So value 1, value 2, value 3 lines. If the value is either it may be character or date, it must be enclosed in quotes. And the value is either date or character. It must be enclosed in. So if the value is in character, say it may be a character data type or it may be a date data type, the value must be enclosed in quotes. This is the one. So this syntax is used to insert all the column values of a table. So actually this is the one syntax. This syntax is used to insert all the column values of the table. So insert all the column values of the table. So this is the way to use. For example, this is my table. Suppose student ID, student name, marks. Suppose this is my table. I want to insert data into this table. So this is the table. So the name of this table is student. Name of this table is student. I want to insert the data into this table. How to insert? Insert table name. What is the table name? Student. So then you have to define insert into table name student values So student ID, suppose 1501. Name. So it is a character data type that must be enclosed in this format. So then marks spot. So when you write like this, one row is inserted. Suppose I want to insert one more. Insert into student values 502 I 26. So we are inserted second table. Like this, we can use insert command. Insert command is used to insert all the table values. This is the one syntax. This is syntax one. So syntax two, we have another syntax. So this is it is interactive mode. So we have the interactive mode. So how to insert the values? So what is the syntax? Insert into table name values. Insert into table name values. So you have to define ampersand column column 1 comma ampersand column 2. So like this ampersand column. So this is another way, interactive mode. So if you define like this, so it will ask one by one. So for example, insert into what is the table student values ampersand SID comma ampersand S name ampersand marks. If you give like this, the system will ask enter SID. You have to enter SID value. Enter S name. You have to enter S name. Enter marks. You have to enter marks. After that, you have to press the slash. So then the row is inserted. When you press enter, so press slash. Press slash. When you press slash, so the row is inserted. So when so you have to this the way. Suppose I want to insert one more. Again, you have to press slash. Again, row is inserted. Again, once again slash like this. So no need to write number of times. So once you have to give like this, the system will enter the value. So you need one more. You have to press slash. Again, it will ask the value. Say enter S number, S name, S name. So like this, we can insert the way. So no need to write the statement completely, insert into table in student like this. So this is the another way to insert a value into the table. So we have the one more syntax. Insert data into a specific one. Suppose I want to insert the data to a specific columns. Suppose I want to insert student ID and marks only, or student ID and names only. So we can insert specific column, specific column. Suppose insert into table name values column 1, column 2. Values value 1 value to all. Suppose we want to insert specific column values. So we want to insert specific column values. Insert into student. I want to insert student ID and student name. Student ID and marks. Suppose I want to insert student ID and marks only. Student ID and marks. Student ID and marks values. Suppose 503, 66. So only we are inserted student ID and marks only. So this is the way to insert values into specific columns. So in order to insert a value into specific columns, we use this syntax. Like this, we have the three syntaxes for the insert statement. So insert statement is used to insert the values into the table. We want to insert the values into the table. So we use the statement insert statement. Since there are three syntaxes of the insert statement, so depends upon the use, we may use the syntaxes. So suppose syntax 1, we have this is the first syntax. This syntax is used to insert all the column values of a table. To insert all the column values of a table, we use this syntax. If the column value is either it may be a string or either it may be a date or character data type, it must be enclosed in single quotes. This is the first syntax. Suppose I want to insert, suppose I want to enter 50 rows, it is necessary to write 50 times of this statement. So insert into table name values, value 1, value 2, so on, value, and we have to write them as many number of times as we require. Suppose I want to insert 50 times, 50 rows, it is necessary to write the statement 50 times. In order to overcome such a problem, so we have the another syntax called as interactive mode to insert values. So insert into table name values. So then we have to write value column 1, column 2, column 3 like this. So once you write this, after that we have to, so for example, is insert into table name student values, you have to ampersand of SID, ampersand of name, ampersand of marks. Then you have to press enter. If you press enter, so it will ask enter student ID, enter student name, enter student marks. After inserting all the values, the row is inserted. Again, you want one more record, you have again press you have to slash. Again, if you press slash, again it will ask student ID, student name, marks. Again, the row is inserted. Again, you want to insert one more record, you have to press slash. So when you press slash, the records, the system will ask the student ID, student name, column, what are the columns we have defined in insert statement. It will ask interactively. So this is another syntax to enter the values into the table. So suppose I want to insert the data in a specific columns, not entire all the rows, all the columns of a table. So I want to insert only some columns of the table. So in order to enter the only some columns of a table, we use insert one more statement called insert into table name. We have to write the columns and after that values, then values. This is another syntax. Insert into table name. So column 1, column 2, so on, column n, values, value 1, value 2, so on, value. Suppose I want to insert only student ID and marks only. So insert into student. What are the values you want to insert? Student ID and student marks. You have to define student ID, student marks values. So it will only we are inserted student ID and marks of a table. So like this, we can insert the values into the table by using different ways. This is the one. This is the way. This one statement. Another we have the update. This statement is used to modify the data. So this is another statement, more update statement. The update statement is used to modify the data in the database. Suppose I already entered the data, but I want to modify the data. I already entered. So whatever the data I entered, I want to modify that data. Suppose in this case we use update statement. What is the syntax? Update table name. You have to note down the syntaxes clearly. So it's one very important. Update table name set column equal to value where condition. Update table name set column equal to value where condition. When where clause is not specified, all the rows of the table is updated. When where clause is not specified, all the rows of the table is updated. When where clause is specified, only when where clause is specified, only the condition satisfied, only the condition satisfied is updated. So this is the syntax of where clause, where table name. So set column equal to value where condition. When where clause is not specified, if you are not specified the where clause, all the rows of the table is updated. When where clause is specified, only the condition satisfied rows is updated. For example, we have the table like this. Suppose we have the 501 browsing 45 502 side. So 56. We have one more. We are 503. 503 not given name. So marks is 66. Suppose this is the table. For example, I want to change the marks of 501 to 52. Suppose. So then we use suppose change the marks. Change the marks of the student 501 to 52. Suppose I want to change the marks of the student 501 to 52. So then what we can do? So what we do? So update. So table name. What is the table? Student. So what is the set? Marks equal to 52. For all students, no. Where SID equal to 501. That means when you write like this, the marks of the student 501 student marks is updated to 52. So when you write like this, then the marks is automatically updated. Right, like this, automatically the value is updated by 52. So like this. Suppose I want to give the name to 503 name as so Balaji. Suppose. Not 3. Suppose update. What is the table name? Student. Update table name student. Set name equal to Balaji. Where SID equal to So what is SID 503? So if I write like this, automatically, so the name automatically this name is modified by X. Please wait. Sir, tell me, sir. Hello, Pradeep sir. So like this video. Suppose I want, so like this we can use the define. Suppose I want 5 marks to each student. So suppose another add 5 marks for all the students. Suppose I want to add 5 marks to all the students. Suppose I want to add 5 marks to all the students, then set update update update. What is the table student? Set marks equal to marks plus 5. It's enough. So all the marks of the students is updated by 5. So this is the way, suppose, so this is the data. So the data is modified by, so 5, then it is the 57, then it is 56 to 63, 56 to 61, 71. So automatically the data is updated. This is the way to add, update the statements of a table. So these are the different way. This is the another statement of update statement. This statement is used. So this statement is used to update the data of a table. This is the insert statement. Insert statement is used to insert the values into the table. So you have to note down the syntaxes very clearly. So because it's one very important work. So you have to note down the syntaxes and the practice if you have the system in your home. Okay. So okay, bye. Tomorrow we'll discuss.